I spent a ridiculous amount of money, like over $20,000 for someone like me, a 21-year-old who just finished university last year, who really wants to understand business and go into the agency, info product, SMMA, coaching consultant space and help others do the same. But the reality is that after spending all that money, all these courses, coaching, mentors, and then implementing myself, spending hundreds of hours, and with my clients as well, spending thousands of hours in combination with everyone that I've interacted with, this is what I personally believe will be the best business model for someone in the SMA space, in the info product space, coaching, consultant business that will bring you to $100,000 per month in monthly recurring revenue. Not that you have to chase for your next month, working less than 5 hours a day and capitalize on revenue at each stage for your buyer's journey. I'll explain to you exactly what all of that means throughout this video. But I genuinely believe that this is the outcome of the business model that I'm about to show you because a lot of people say that, yes, they made 100K a month, 250K a month, but then they don't tell you how much revenue they make the next month. They don't show you how much their revenue has dipped every single month. And I want to prove to you that I can build a 100K a month business model and I'll show you all the receipts, all my Stripe as I'm building it together with you, that this business model will work and perform as I have theorized that it will. And I've seen other people use the exact same model and they're doing amazing. And so my current model is the high ticket model. Let me show you and explain to you what it is and why it may be potentially devastating for yourself if you're doing something very similar or if you're not doing anything at all. Just sit back, relax, and I'll explain it all to you. The general funnel that people typically use in the high ticket space is that they have the top of the funnel, they have the middle of the funnel, and the bottom. Essentially, what it is, if you don't know what they are, top of funnel is generating traffic, lead generation, getting as many eyeballs on your page as you can. Middle of the funnel is lead nurturing. So gaining trust, making people see you as an authority and seeing you as a credible individual, and for them to see you as someone who they can actually trust and want to buy from in the future. And then when you convert, however your conversion mechanism is, a landing page, a DM, an email list, the general conversion mechanism often sends people, for me, from the DMs and then sales calls. And then obviously we book out a calendar, we get Stripe notifications from these people. Now, what I want to show you is that the general formula that people sort of go through is they either do cold outreach or warm outreach and also inbound as well. So you make content and then people sort of reply to the content, they engage with you, and then you nurture them with your content and then you hop on a sales call. But the problem is that when you're hopping on a sales call, see this woman here, they're not interested. They're cold. They don't trust you. There is no point of contact in which they believe that you have the solution for them. And they probably have likely not consumed hours of your content to be fully convinced that you have the solution for them. So what happens is that the psychographic of these people and the psychology is that you're asking them to marry you on the first date. Like imagine going to a Tinder date and then the first question that you ask someone is, "Will you marry me?" That's ridiculous. Like that's absolutely ridiculous, and it's insane to believe because that's what the high ticket gurus have made a lot of us believe, that you can just start selling these high ticket products which have amazing profit margins that people will buy, and you don't have to work that much for it. But it's not true. It's not true. You can't just cold email a bunch of people and then go back and forth and then hop on a sales call and then be a mediocre salesman as well and expect to close them. It's not true. I've done it before. I've sent Loom videos on email, and even though I optimize a Loom with my coach, my mentor, I wasn't able to connect with these people because at the end of the day, when it comes to business, the biggest thing that I've learned is that business is all about solving problems. And how do you solve problems? Well, you provide value. And how do you provide value? Well, you solve problems, right? It's sort of a two-way street. You provide value by solving problems, and solving problems gives you value. So when you reach out to these people, they don't trust you at all. They don't even believe that they have a problem. They're in their own blissful world, and ignorance is bliss. You've heard that so many times, but ignorance can also be your imprisoner. So what that means is that people who actually go through the process of cold messaging or even a warm outbound message to your follow-up, they don't trust you at all. They have so many other gurus, coaches, consultants, agency owners already doing that to them. And so doing that, especially without content, I've been in a period where I had no personal brand. I did not have my content system, my middle of funnel at all. It was just pure cold outreach with email, with a Loom video that I filmed personally for them, which took a enormous amount of time. Even with leveraging AI and different software to make those things easier for you, it took in a massive, massive amount of time. And I didn't even have the content like with me. And yes, there were times where I did close. I got 2K paid in fulls, and I was able to close people, but they don't trust you, and it's a very annoying process. I mean, this is personally for me. I don't want to hop on 1,000 sales calls. I don't even want to have a closer. I want to work with people that want to work with me. I want to have a funnel that is so efficient that when people ask for my help, I can give them my help without having to force feed them my solution. And so the issue with your high ticket model, the top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, I don't care, like this high ticket sales system that people are trying to sell you is that they don't ultimately buy from you. And you've spent so much time trying to sell them on something that they ultimately may not even want from you, making a personalized outreach message, filming a personalized Loom. It's very annoying. Okay. And as a result, there's no MRR on the back end. Like, yes, you can be closing 6, 7K pips. First of all, you have to have so much social proof and credibility to sell someone on a 7 or 6K PIF. Or they have to be insanely rich as well and have to have a massive amount of money, purchasing power, right? And as well, there's no MRR on the back end. You don't know when your next dollar is coming from. A coach can make 100K a month in their first month. In the second month, it can absolutely dip because there's no one else to buy from them. I'm not saying there's not enough people in the market. I'm saying there's a lot of inconsistency, or there's a lack of consistency, so to speak. The next one is that they don't have a secondary offer to cater to what they need. So what that means is that they only have one offer. They sell one 10K PIF. They don't break out from that. They don't have an offer, a secondary offer, which someone could also purchase to gain more trust. For example, when people buy a small product from you, for example, if they buy an iPhone, what makes them want to buy a Mac instead? Because they trust the Apple product, the iPhone that they initially bought, or an iPod. And then once they make that initial purchase, they're willing to make more expensive purchases once they realize that they find some value in the smaller purchase, because it's sort of like having a preview or a free trial. The reason why people get free trials on, let's say, like a Netflix subscription is because once you realize the amount of value and the enjoyment that you get from that, why wouldn't you want to pay money or even more money once you have that initial investment? And that's how you attract people that pay you, and not just give away freebies to people who just selfishly consume your content and take and take and take. It's annoying. And the last thing is that you're wasting money on ads and time because you're making so much content and ads that don't convert. You're just accruing a list of people who just want your free stuff. Okay. And I've already mentioned this. You're hopping on hundreds of sales calls, and even if you close people at an 80% closing rate, like that's obviously very high, but what that takes is really good marketing. To sell at 80% or even 50% and over is to have your marketing sell for you. So if you don't have your social proof dialed in and your relentless testimonials, then there is no way that you can close, even if you are a good closer yourself, because your marketing sucks. And finally, they may not even feel like they need your full solution. So why would they pay you $10,000 when all they need is, for example, help with client acquisition? What if they only just need help with the bottom of funnel conversion? Often, and I'm not going to say that's the only case, often if people struggle with the bottom of funnel, it means that people don't convert because they either don't trust you or your sales process sucks. Only two reasons, right? But what I'm trying to say is that if people don't even feel like they need your full solution, then don't force it down their throat. Don't force people to work with you if they don't want to work with you. It's annoying. Okay. And I hope that has made sense so far, because what I want to show you now is something that I've been working on, something that I'm very, very proud of. And I do not know why this is blurry. Okay, there you go. But essentially, the most optimized funnel that I found myself after spending thousands of hours testing and combining those tests and accruing all the knowledge from my previous mentors, my previous coaches, and also my clients as well, and spending over $20,000 on coaching. This is what I have found to be the most sustainable, logical model. And if you're questioning my competence, just look in my bio, look at Converter Studios, and look at the high ticket prices and sales that we've made ourselves in my business, in my clients' businesses. If you don't believe me, because I genuinely believe that this is the best business model if you're a coach, consultant, or SMMA, growth partner, agency, anyone in the info product space. This is the highest leverage model that you can possibly use, which allows you to capitalize at every single point of the buyer's journey, at every single uh, purchasing power amount. Okay, so let me explain to you what this is. So it's called the conversion core. And the reason why it's called the conversion core is because at the core, highest ticket offer, which is the very top, just like the earth, you have different layers and mantles of the earth, which allow the earth to have different layers. And what this does is, for example, the core of the earth has its own function. It's to heat up the the earth, right? Otherwise, we'll freeze to death and we'll die. So every layer of the earth has an important aspect to it, right? An aspect that builds upon itself to obviously allow us to maintain homeostasis and to maintain our environment, our ecosystem, and allow us to thrive and survive. So let's begin from the bottom though, because I want to build it up. So the starter is a one-time purchase that your prospects have to get an initial investment, because you want to create momentum when it comes to your buyers buying from you. So, like I said before, the Apple analogy, when someone buys, let's say, AirPods or an iPhone, something small, they are more inclined to purchase a higher ticket product like a MacBook, an iPad, or something even more expensive if they first initially find value in that small item they bought. So, for example, what this could look like is if someone bought an ebook from you, let's say you're a fitness coach, you made a ebook or a Notion dashboard or a Notion tracking sheet that someone can use to track all their calories, that has all the grocery items listed for them, or an AI that could make a structured route or a structured plan and routine for them. And that was a one-time purchase. Now they're sort of thinking, wow, like this was so much value. I wonder what else Matt, the fittest and sexiest fitness coach, could possibly be offering in his next tier, his next level, or his next offer. And so if someone is tentative from buying your offer, now that you have a $25 ebook or AI which replicates how you think, people can now opt into your funnel and you actually start earning some money instead of only having one offer where you sell a 1,000, 2,000, up to 10K paid in full. People have a taste, an appetizer when they look at you and look at your business. And so once they taste the value that you bring, and this could be in any format, like I said, it could even be a workshop as well, then now they're inclined to pay you. And the next layer is when they gain momentum, right? When they pay you $100 to $250 a week. And how you can frame this is that people just have to pay $100 or $250, depending on what your offer is, per week. That's it. And you get weekly recurring revenue. And what you can do is upsell these people the moment that they purchase, let's say 1 to 2 weeks from that moment. You can upsell them not into the next layer, but you can say, to save you some money, let's say save you 20%, 15%, or 30% of the cost. For the next 6 months, you can save $1,000, $2,000, depending on the percent, if you pay in full. Now, how crazy is that? Not only are you getting weekly recurring revenue, it lowers the amount of perceived effort and fear that someone has to take the chance to work with you. And at the same time, you can now pitch them, rightfully so, because they've already bought from you. They've already spent $100 on you. They've already spent $250 on you. Now you can pitch them the paid in full, obviously at the cost of a discount, which is perfectly fine because now you'll have so many more people on this weekly recurring revenue that you can pitch the PIF. And much like the same mentality, you can keep increasing the price and the value of each layer. And how you actually increase the value of each layer is simply the access. So, what I mean by access is when someone begins at the starter, they only get access to you for a brief moment, either in the form of a book, in the form of AI, in the form of a 1 hour, 2 hour workshop. They only see you so seldomly, right? So seldom. So by increasing the different layers and tiers of the conversion core, you're able to increase the level of access that someone gets to you and sell that instead. You have now turned your offer from a commodity into something that is productized in a way that you're able to increase the amount of value by simply trading in your time and your level of access. So I know people say that in business, or you're trading uh, your outcome for money, but to what extent are you actually doing that? Because if you're trading in an outcome, yes, that's true, but it also requires a massive team and massive fulfillment. Like, because who wants to have 10 closers in their team, an operations manager, a client success manager? That sucks. That absolutely sucks. This model allows you to create so much leverage because you have people at different tiers that have different levels of access to you. Ultimately, at the very top, you have the core council, the people that work one-on-one with you that can actually speak to you and DM you in a private Discord, private Slack, whatever platform you'd like to use. And they can speak to you privately to the point where you feel like you're almost integrated into their business, doing the things for them. That's why it's a partnership. And I hope that makes sense because this will allow you to have one offer, one core offer that converts at every single stage of the buyer's journey. So it creates MRR, monthly recurring revenue, if not weekly recurring revenue on the back end. It makes it stable and constantly overflowing with cash. So you never worry about where your next client is coming from, that you have to close a high ticket client. And how easy would it be to pitch people who have already paid you $100, $250 weekly, or $500 to go to the next layer? Obviously, you're not going to be able to pitch everyone, but for the ones that find a lot of value, and this is dependent on you consistently providing value to people, just imagine how much money you'd be able to make and how easy the sales calls would be. They're not even sales calls at that point. They're just onboarding and just simple questions like, hey, bro, do you want to go to the next stage and get more access? Do you want to DM me more? Do you want to hop on more calls with me? If you want to, you think I'm a cool guy and I can help you, then let's go ahead and do that. It's that simple. Okay. And you can spend money on ads, obviously grow your page. And the time that you spend on content is optimized because you're able to collect cash at every single stage. So even if you spend, let's say, $10 a day on an ad, if you just have one person spend $10 on yourself for your workshop, for applying to get this ebook from you, you just made that money back. Like, why would you not want that? Instead of waiting for someone and selling them on a 1K PIF, which will take you a very, very long time, you have to sell them so hard. Like, who actually wants that? If you enjoy that, like, go ahead, but I don't enjoy hopping on sales calls with annoying prospects. I've had people like jump off calls, be disrespectful, and just waste my time, and it just absolutely annoys me. And I'd never want to do that again. So when you hop on calls with people, it'll only be to either upsell them or to onboard them for your highest ticket offer. You don't even have to hop on calls with people who purchase your starter or your momentum offer, because that can just be into a community offer. And I'll explain this to you guys in the future in much more detail when I have all the logistics settled out. But this model just makes so much sense because it provides a solution for every level of need, for every level and type of client, to build so much trust and to create an identity around your brand and your offer. And all you have to do is just create something like this for yourself. Rename it, rebrand it for yourself. Call your people. I call my people the Conversion Council. I think that sounds epic. It's like government, but the government aren't the best type of people, but let's not get into that. But it creates a business model which is not only flexible, but it really just allows you to create a lubricated engine, which is able to generate you a lot of money in the most efficient way, in my opinion, allowing you to work the least and also capitalizing at every stage of your buyer's journey. But that's all I have for you today. Hope you found some value. Catch you later.